Through the mists comes forth RPGaDay! In the year 2021, RPGaDay comes back for its 8th year. A time in August when every day we tackle another question or topic by answering in a way that uplifts the gaming community and answers questions people might have about this crazy hobby of ours that serves to build the community and bring it up, that many of us make blogs about, video blogs, art, or great works. In celebration of the community of gamers, I welcome you to RPGaDay 2021. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Rob, also sometimes the Dungeon Tutor, and also sometimes Omnisci. And today I'm here for another RPGaDay topic, today being day 9. The word for today is medium. Now, we've already had small, and we're up to medium, so that could be interesting, but I'm not going with that, actually. Today in the topic, we're going to discuss medium as in a person who channels the dead, who holds seances and lets the dead speak through them and things like that. First of all, disclaimer, I'm not superstitious. I don't believe in ghosts. I don't believe in most of the superstition. I'm pretty firmly behind myths being revealed as, you saw some natural phenomenon or some creature that you couldn't otherwise classify in your, at that point, limited understanding of the world around you, so you deified it. You were searching for an explanation and creating things rather than, really putting things under scrutiny and experimentation. I'm not, all about cold, soulless science. I think it's actually kind of a very humanizing thing that we do look for these things, but I'm not a believer in ghosts and spirits, and nobody has ever shown me anything that concretely prove to me that there are spirits or ghosts. I've seen some bizarrely unlikely circumstances, mostly revolving dice. But, you show me somebody who's doing some ghost hunting and I'll just pull out the popcorn and laugh. So, and, this has not been a something. On the other hand, I'm a huge fan of fantasy. I love the idea of magic, and I wish that there was actually some honest-to-goodness magic in this world that couldn't be explained by science, that did mean there was some potential for unlocking some hidden area of the universe that we as yet do not understand. That'd be cool. Haven't found any yet, but it would be really cool, and it's fun to imagine and unpack your mind. So when it comes to games involving things that I normally in real life scoff at, or I'm highly skeptical of, in games, I can indulge that. In games, I can really have fun with the idea that, I can still mock the big publicized ghost hunters who go and they're really good for the camera, but their science is highly sketchy, and having their little speaking spells blurt out random words is okay. I can have fun with that, and I have lampooned that before. As I have completely lifted from a video game from back in the day, the cocky ghost hunter who walks into a place and goes, "Come at me, ghosts!" I love that. It's so cheesy and so hilarious and so fitting for this. But I'm straying. The idea of a medium is somebody who, my definition of a medium is somebody who tells people that they can speak with the dead and then drains their money from their wallet. But a medium is somebody who is supposed to be psychic and can contact ghosts and channel their consciousness and allow them to speak to those gathered around. The faith of the people around and their connection to the person should help as a kind of an antenna into the medium so that they can channel it. And then say what the ghost would want to have said in front of people. This often means, what's the combination to the safe, or where did you do this, or I need closure, I need to hear, things like that. But if you're having a game where magic is real and ghosts are real, and you know where we're going with this, the idea of a medium suddenly becomes an exercise in potentially skill and some sort of inherent power. Which always reminds me of GURPS, because a lot of stuff reminds me of GURPS. GURPS is a game that, in their psychic abilities, it has two different ratings, your skill and your power for psychic abilities, which is certainly elements of that. Power being how much you can channel, and skill being your ability to turn that into something useful. But one thing that I dislike, and this is in the greatest role-playing game in the world, Dungeons & Dragons, they go, and this is because of the roots of Dungeons & Dragons being based on war games, you need magic to be bottled up and labeled. You need a nice bow put on magic so that you can understand when a wizard casts a fireball, it does this. This is its range, this is explosive force, this is how much damage it does, all bottled up and labeled. Yes, not every fireball will be as potent as the next. Yes, not every fireball may necessarily hit their mark. It might get hit, blow up prematurely or something like that. But generally, magic is bottled up and labeled. And the idea of a medium is basically gobbled up with the ability called, or a spell called Speak with Dead. I mean, there may even be classes that have this as an ability, which compels the undead, the dead spirit to appear before a group and say what they need to say. If you can cast that spell, you don't need mediums. You don't. And realistically, in most D&D games that I've ever played in, you don't see people who are mediums like we have in our world. You don't have people who are going about telling people, I can help you to talk to your dead child or your dead husband or your dead mother or whatever. You don't have that because magic is real and real people could do that. So we don't often in games see mediums in Dungeons & Dragons. Why? Because they're legitimate people who can make that kind of happen. But I like to think to myself, I'm not a huge fan. If there is magic, to me, magic is the opposite of science. It can't be bottled up and labeled. It should be somewhat unpredictable. That doesn't work in Dungeons & Dragons, but there are games that it does, where magic is largely open to interpretation, where magic can very much wildly fluctuate. It can catch you by surprise. It can drastically change from being overpowering and then next to nothing. Just escapes you at the moment when you're looking for it or most need it. Magic often can feel capricious in the right games. And I kind of resonate with that a bit. I like the idea that magic isn't something that is understood as a science is understood. But the idea of mediums never really comes off like a wizard. It's, some woman in a pantsuit coming over. It's like, oh, hi, I'm a medium. I can talk to the dead. It's some guy in a blazer. It's like, hi, I'm a professional medium. I can help talk to the dead. It's not a wizard who breaks out an elaborate table setting and puts artifacts and implements in place. You don't really see a lot of that. And, all these different things that help to attune them to the dead and things like that. Some of them do have trappings, I will say. I've seen a few things. But I think in a fantasy setting, to make magic more unpredictable, and for people to deal in a magical world, I think the world really does, more so than our modern world, I think a world like that needs mediums. They need people whose magic can't just be a spell. I think when sorcerers came along into Dungeons and Dragons in 3rd edition, and all of a sudden, not all people who could throw fireballs were reedy people in robes working on their beards who, I will be mysterious because magic is a strange force and only I study it. No, now sorcerers come along and it's like, hey bro, watch this, fireball. Hey bro, watch this, lightning bolt. I'm, of course, grossly exaggerating for the sake of driving my point home ruthlessly, but the idea that magic is bottled up and labeled, 5th edition kind of has relaxed that a little bit. Magic is now a little bit more flexible, not quite as clearly defined, not stuck in Vancian magic as much as it used to be. But it's a little bit better, but it's still very much spells do this. They have a description, you know exactly how they work. I really like to think that fantasy worlds need mediums. They need people whose talents don't just mean I can cast the spell. I really do, and I really think that to make magic magical, you need to shatter those boundaries from time to time. And I think that's really hard for first-time game masters to do, especially dungeon masters in Dungeons and Dragons, because the players will go, show me the stats for that monster. A good game master, a good dungeon master, will say, no. First of all, there's a curtain between you and me. You deal with the reality I present, and I'll run reality. No, this person can, for instance, talk with the dead in their own particular way. They aren't casting a spell that you can see, but they can do this effect. Why? Because they're the medium. They can do this. Or can they? Are they just pulling a bluff? In which case then, yeah, you can roll to see if you can perceive their deception. You can try to intuit whether or not they are deceiving people, and there are skills related to that, and then it becomes a contest of skills, certainly. That means that the real people who know that magic exists are skeptical of your magic. Perish the thought. But if everybody accepts that magic is real, the gods exist, why wouldn't people also necessarily, A, try to flim-flam people? Sure, yeah, of course I can talk to the dead. Give me gold and I will make sure that you talk to your dead child today. Sure, they'd be people who would do that. And maybe the heroes who can actually do magic would be pretty insulted by that. Especially if they could go, well, the spirit of your child isn't around to do this because they're in an afterlife. They're not just hanging around here. So, no, you're a fraud. Or, oh, yeah, well, the ghost of your child is here. Maybe we can lay that child to rest so that they're not haunting this place. That's another reality of the D&D world. So, sure, maybe they could do it that way. But this person who comes in is like, oh, I can, then all of a sudden, the people who are actually into the magic have to understand, I know magic works. Maybe this person has this ability. Is there an ability that says medium? No, but maybe there could be. Maybe you can make a feat. Medium. You can see dead people and you can channel them. Hey, that would be cool, and I just created something. There you go. Enjoy it. Maybe you could put a requirement that you have to understand magic in some way, shape, or form, or something like that. I don't know. Maybe I wouldn't even say that's necessary, nor maybe should it be. Keep that separate from, just somebody spontaneously developing the power to be a medium. Okay, cool. Now your fighter can see dead people and have dead people talk through them. That might be kind of a cool element of a character. Maybe one who's flagging a little bit in the I have a purpose, or I have a concrete realized personality. Maybe give them a trait like, hey, now you can see dead people. That could be kind of cool. Could be kind of scary too. I mean, let's face it, a lot of people who are dead that you might still see lingering around are probably that way because of violence. And now all of a sudden you might have opened up a big can of worms. Could be. Could be very interesting. It all depends on your game and how you run it. But this is my pitch, okay, for mediums. In a game that often can be predicated based on bottled up and labeled, categorized, put into boxes magic, don't be afraid to break that mold from time to time and just let things happen because it's magic. and it's spontaneous sometimes, and it's not easily classified, if it can be classified at all, and why it happens, because it's magic. So, that's what I did with mediums. So this is going to be a ride, I think. So hopefully you enjoyed this little voyage we just took together. Certainly went all over the place, but I hope you got something useful out of it. Maybe an idea for an NPC just popped into your head that you can use in a game. Maybe an idea for a character that you want to play might have popped into your head. Somebody who goes around looking for ghosts and busting ghosts? No, maybe not that. But whatever you want. But I do thank you for joining me. This has been a fun little ride so far. We got plenty more to go. So hopefully you stick with me for the rest of these RPG-A-Day videos. If this is the first one you've seen, we've got 8 more behind it, and I've got plenty more coming up. So, and if you like me, which I hope you do, of course, feel free to subscribe, hit the notify button, all the fun stuff. Everybody always will beg for that because we want you to come back and see us. We're getting lonely in here in the internet when nobody's watching us. So, hopefully you do. And if you have your own ideas, or, we can have a conversation about that, because a lot of my videos are made when people have talked to me and come up with things, and I usually make some sort of a response video or inspire a video based on what people have asked about. So feel free to leave that in the comments below, and I will read it, and we'll move forward. I'll at least comment on it and like it. So thank you very much. Appreciate you all. Hope to see you again next time. Again, I am Rob, or Dungeon Tutor, or Omnisci, whichever, and farewell.